Today I had the opportunity to interview someone that I look up to, someone that has been able to successfully transfer what he's learned from the game of basketball to business, to writing books, to public speaking, to being just an overall better person. And that's what ultimately what I want you to do with this channel. I want to interview people like him that can inspire you and to make you realize that, listen, you don't have to be a coach. If you want to be a coach, that's great. But you don't have to be an athletic director. If you want to be, great. You don't have to go to the NBA. If you make it, then great. But you don't have to do that. There's things that you can use from the game of basketball and make it work for your good, and this guy's done a great job of doing that. If you have not checked his website out, make sure you check out DreAllDay.com, where you can pick up some of his books, one of 15 to be exact. He has one that's free. His first book is called Buy a Game, and this is his first book, and it's a phenomenal read. Look, you can print this book out. It's for free. Did I mention this for free? Make sure you check out DreAllDay.com and pick up this book for free. It gives you in detail everything from when he started playing basketball in high school, when he got cut 3 times during high school tryouts and made it his senior year, to his college years, and then eventually to his professional years of playing 9 years. Look, there's a lot of content there that you can pick up and learn and apply to your own game and not have to go the hard way like he went. Again, that's DreAllDay.com. Make sure you check out that book, and when we get finished with that, I want you to make sure you take a look at this book. Now, this book is not free, but it is definitely of value. This book is the Mental Workbook. The Mental Workbook is different in the sense that it's just that. It's a workbook. So when you read it, you actually have tasks and goals as you go along with it. Many times we get these books and we have good intentions. We read them and they just sit up on the desk and get dusty. You're not going to have a problem with this book. This book here, this book right here is the real deal, all right? Now, and again, you can find that on DreAllDay.com. I had a blast sitting down. I felt like I was talking to my friend when I was sitting down talking to this guy. I have an hour of content from this interview, but I'm going to break it up and make it in like 10 to 15 minute increments. So there'll be a part 1, there'll be a part 2, and there'll undoubtedly be a part 3 and 4 as well. So I want you to get a good taste of it, but I don't want to overwhelm you. So make sure you check out this interview all the way to the end. Let me know who you want me to interview next. And without further ado, allow me to introduce my mans in them, Dre Baldwin from DreAllDay.com.
Hoop loud.
The first one, Buy a Game.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say there's a lot of comedic value in that because of your vulnerability and because I guess that was your first book, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, there was a lot of comedic value because it seemed like you was just being transparent. It wasn't like you were guarded on some things, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. I'm definitely going to continue to read and figure out more about you. I think there's a lot that your audience could learn from if they just dove into your book. You know, one inspiring thing is that you didn't make three of your basketball teams starting out. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in high school, I didn't start playing ball until I was 14. So I tried out for the high school team. I'm from Philadelphia, so in our city at the time, at least in my school, there was no junior varsity. So you either made varsity or you didn't play. So I didn't make it my first 2 years, and I honestly didn't really believe that I would make it my first 2 years. But by my junior year, I could dunk if I got a running start. And I was pretty good. I felt like it was my time to make the team. I had read that Michael Jordan didn't make it till he was a junior. So I'm like, man, I'm still on track to be great.
Oh yeah.
And that year I expected to make it, but I had a terrible tryouts that year. Like I talked about in Buy a Game, this guy just kept scoring on me. He was just stronger than me. I didn't make it my junior year. And then I finally did make it as a senior. The tryouts were relatively easy that year. I did make the team, but I didn't have the game experience. I didn't have the confidence. And I definitely wasn't ready for it. In Philadelphia, they call it the public league. Those games are really high intensity, and the fans are like right on top of you. So I was not ready for that at all. I ended up basically riding the bench my senior year of high school. So coming out of high school, I didn't have much live in-game experience. I had a lot of pickup experience, but not a lot of in-game experience.
Yeah. What do you think you got that dog in you from? I mean, because as I'm reading this, I'm going to pick a little things out that I read in the book. And for the people that are curious about what I'm talking about, this is your invite to actually get the book. It's a free book on his website as far as Buy a Game is concerned, so you can see what I'm talking about. But one of the stories you've already mentioned too, and that is when a guy was overpowering you. I was just shocked about, I guess I think right now, I think both of us are relatively the same age. Back then, you could say things on the court and no one would kind of be too taken back. But reading it in this day and age, I was like, golly, that's heartless, about some of the things that people were saying, like, get them out there. How'd you battle through that and say, okay, even though that I don't have the best resume starting out, this is something worth pursuing?
Well, that year, that particular day, when that was happening at tryouts, the school that I went to was called Engineering and Science High School in Philadelphia. The gym was really small. So the fans, like if you went to one of our varsity basketball games, you didn't sit down. Fans couldn't sit down. That's how little space there was between the court, the sideline, and the actual wall. Mm-hmm. So the fans would line up along the court, and they're right on top of you. So if you go out of bounds, you can touch a fan, and the fan, they're that close. Yeah. If you dive for a loose ball out of bounds, you're going to land on the fan. It's guaranteed. There's nowhere else for them to stand. So they're right there. And we had tryouts in that gym. So while tryouts is happening, right under the basket there on the baseline, the people are right there. You can hear what they're saying. You can hear the conversation while you're playing. So there was some girl who made some offhand comment like, man, he need to just go home. Yeah. While this guy's just scoring on me over and over again. But I didn't take it as, I wasn't thinking of that as like something that meant I was never meant to make it as a basketball player. I just took it as what it was. It was just an offhand comment from a spectator who was watching the game. If I had been watching, I might have been thinking the same thing because this guy was just scoring on me. I knew after maybe the third or fourth time he scored that I probably wasn't making the team that year. Yeah. But I had to stay there. It's not like I could just pack my stuff and go home in the middle of tryouts. Yeah. So after that was over, really, I just, for a couple of weeks, I didn't want to play ball. Or not even that I didn't want to, but I was thinking to myself, maybe all these signs, these things that have been happening are just signs that let me know that basketball is not going to be my thing. So what is it going to be? Mm-hmm. But the vision that I kept coming back to was basketball, which didn't make sense because of all these failures that I continuously was having in the game. But I decided to give it one more shot, play for a local team, and then just start to build my confidence back up. It started to build my confidence back up because I was on a team finally. And this is as a junior, I'm playing on a local rec team. The coach put me in a position to where I was one of the major players on the team, where I was dependent on to deliver. Yeah. And I was actually delivering. Uh-huh. So that really was a huge boost to my confidence. And that was during my junior year. Then my senior year, I actually got on the school varsity team.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. It's funny, man, because I feel like just in talking to you, it's like the book is coming alive, right? Because I'm reading this, and then you're saying exactly, not that you would be lying, but it's just kind of funny to just kind of see the book come alive. One thing that I could learn from is even just at that age, I don't think I would have the wherewithal to not, quote unquote, have the resume to even dream as such. But there was a time when you were on the bench, and many times people cower away from their attention because they're not getting as much playing time, and they almost look like, please don't pick me. But you actually looked dead in the eyes of a coach and said, look, like non-verbally, I should be in. Where'd that come from? Is that just how you were raised or just the community that you were in to kind of just bet on yourself?
Well, I knew what I was capable of. Even that year that I was on the team, I knew I was capable of getting on the court and doing something productive. I wasn't going to be the best player on the floor probably, not because I lacked the talent, but because I just didn't have the game experience. I didn't have the confidence to do all the stuff that I saw some other players doing. But I knew based on the role that I had on that team, and I was kind of playing like a big position, quote unquote, like the 4 or 5 most of the time that year. I knew I could get in there. I knew I could catch a pass and make a layup or grab a couple of rebounds. So I knew what I could do. And I had made the basketball team because during tryouts, he matched me up with the guy who was starting. Mm-hmm. So we had 2 starting big guys who were like maybe 6'3", 6'4". And then there's me. I'm maybe 6'2", 6'3". I was like one of the other big guys on the team, quote unquote, that year. So I made the team guarding one of these guys. So they're out there playing, but they had the experience. I had more skills than them, but they had the experience. So I knew I could get in there and at least do something. So, I definitely wanted to get in the game. And I figured at that point, what do I have to lose? If I get in there and do nothing, then I've achieved nothing. I didn't achieve anything before I got here. So what do I have to lose by just getting on the court and seeing what happens? And even though the times I did get on the court, not much happened. I mean, I didn't have anything I didn't have a reputation to live up to or anything. I was the guy who just made it as a senior. So people are looking at me anyway. I would assume like, okay, he's probably not that good anyway. He's been here 4 years. He only made it once. Yeah. So no one was expecting anything from me. So if I grabbed one rebound, that was like a positive. Like, oh, okay, he knows how to play basketball. Yeah. So I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't worried about looking bad or anything like that. I just wanted to get in there and perform.
Yeah. I mean, as all moms do, you spoke a little bit about your mom sticking up for you in that process. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of these kids that I see now, a lot of student athletes now, they feel like they have, they feel like they have some type of, some backing because their mom or their homeboy or whomever says they're good, but the coach is saying otherwise. What would you say to those individuals with their mom? I mean, because your mom's going to say you're good. Your mom is going to say that you need to play. But how can you battle through what people are saying off the court comparison to the actual real-life reality of you're not getting playing time?
Well, I will say the number one thing is I heard John Calipari say this, coach at the University of Kentucky, is that sports is a performance-based business. Performance-based business. If you perform, you get the business. The business being the playing time, the scholarships, the opportunities, the contract. And if you don't perform, then you're not going to get the business. And it is a meritocracy. Meaning if you are performing, an opportunity will happen. There's never been a case of an athlete performing at a high level on a consistent basis who did not get an opportunity. It's never happened in any sport on any team. So despite what your mom is saying or what your man's is saying that you hang out with or your friends at school or your teammates, sometimes players come to me and they say, well, I didn't make the team, but all the players who made it told me that I should have made it too. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense because if you were really that good and performing, you would have made it. And if you are that good, and let's just say it's just this off chance that the coach is hating on you or doesn't like you for whatever reason, if you can perform, somebody's going to find you and you're going to find an opportunity. So I don't really buy, like if I hear a player saying, well, everyone around me is telling me I'm good, or a player, it appears that they have people telling them that they're good, but they're not performing, I'm going to tell them what I see. So I'll tell them straight up what I see. Listen, I don't care what your friends say. I watched you play. You can't play. You deserve to be on the team. You will be on the team. Like you think you have more game than you have. You're playing against people who can't play on a regular basis. Then when you play against people who can play, you're wondering why you can't perform at the same levels because you're playing two different games. So you got to really, the biggest challenge with young athletes these days is they got to really get clear on where they are. And the challenge with that is not that they're lying to themselves, is that the level of competition they're used to playing against, where they see themselves as good, is not the same as who they need to play against to actually prove something. See, it's one thing if I'm playing against my friends from my block and I'm the man. It's another thing if I go to another neighborhood to play against those guys and I'm a bum. So which one is it? Am I a bum or am I the man? It's what are you doing when it matters? And where it matters is against those better guys and you're not doing anything. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means, listen, you got to step your game up, step up your training, step up the level of competition you're playing against, and you got to make up that curve. There's a learning curve, there's a skill curve, there's an experience curve, and that requires time. There's no book you can read for that. There's no program that's going to magically do it for you. No YouTube video you can watch. There's a process that has to be followed by every player, and I think these days it's so easy to see what the great people are doing or what the stars are doing or somebody on the internet who's putting out their workouts and they make it look so easy. Players think it's supposed to happen to them just like that. It's supposed to happen like that. You put your game in a microwave and it just comes out. There is a time investment required. And I think these days we get things so immediately and so easily, we expect the same thing to happen with our skills. It just doesn't work that way.